Hey, what's up, Israel? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you? Can you hear
Oh,
me?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Well, we appreciate you joining us, man. This is a true pleasure. Man, here we are. It's spring. It's early April. The weather's nice, even here in Missouri. It's almost draft time, brother. What's it been like? What's the process been like? And kind of what's your level of excitement right now?
The process been pretty fun, pretty exciting. Just getting to training and stuff, and getting around the other guys from other schools and just talking to them and talking about their college experience and stuff like that, and then just training with them and hanging out with them. It's been pretty fun, and then talking to a lot of different teams has been an experience.
How different is it this year from what you've heard from maybe some teammates and other people in the past? You guys don't have the scouting combine. Are the pro days any different? Is trying to meet with teams any different? Are you having to Zoom a lot?
Yeah, so I would say first and foremost the combine. So we didn't have a combine. So I would say that's probably the biggest different thing, as well as like meeting with teams. Usually, you go out and fly out to their facilities and meet them in person and stuff. But now everything is phone call or Zoom meeting. So I would say that's a lot different too.
Well, I want to go back to your college career because, we're here in Missouri. We got to see you so much playing at South Carolina. And everybody remembers, of course, the 3 interception game you had against Georgia and in the South Carolina's upset win. I mean, you were a second team All SEC player as a sophomore. But take us back to that game. It was a monumental upset for you guys, beating a top 5 Georgia team that day. And you had 3 picks. What was it about that game and what Georgia was doing or what Fromm was doing? Was he telegraphing passes? How did you manage? That's one of the great defensive games that, in the last few years, everyone remembers that one, man.
It was a crazy week, but just leading up to the week of the game, just watching film, we just knew coming into the game, if we stopped the run and we made him put the ball in the air, that we was going to win, because Georgia, they like to run the ball, then set it up with play action to get some shots downfield. But when we got in the game, we stopped the run, and then our coach. The crazy thing is he didn't throw a pick all season, but our coach was like, if we make him throw the ball enough times, he's going to throw us a pick. So just that Saturday, I actually woke up sick. I wasn't even feeling good for real. So it was crazy. But the first interception, I remember like my freshman year, we played Georgia. I didn't play that much. I was just on the sideline watching them. And we got the same defense as Georgia, but we like to sit and cover 3 a lot. So I remember my freshman year, they just kept throwing long out routes and long comebacks. And then going to the game that Saturday, they threw a couple out routes and comebacks. And then I was on the sideline. I was like, man, I'm just going to put my foot in the dirt and break on one of these, because I'm just tired of them running those routes. And then the play came. We was in cover 3. The receiver ran like a deep comeback to the sideline. I just remember sticking my foot in the dirt, breaking as hard as I can, and then the ball came and I caught it and just took it back to the house. The second interception, I believe it was like 3rd and like 5. We was in man coverage. I got an outside release, kind of disrupted the timing of the route because I got my hands on the receiver. And when he came back and looked back for the ball, I just looked and it was thrown too far outside. So I just put my hands out and then I caught it. At first, when I got up, I didn't know that because I knew I caught it, but when I got up, the stadium was so quiet. So I'm looking around, like, if you go back to it, I'm looking around like, did I catch that? Because it was so quiet. And then they reviewed it, but they said I caught it. So that was pretty cool. And then the third one, we was in cover 3 again. They ran like a spot route. It tipped. It was a tip drill. I remember breaking hard, but I'm so long that I was able to reach my hand back and get my hands on the ball. And then I caught it, and everything else is history.
Yeah, that was great. I remember watching that game. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, again, Israel, again, 3 interceptions. It's amazing. Man, you were giving Jake Fromm nightmares out there. But talk about Columbia, South Carolina. You had offers from a lot of other schools, Florida State, Georgia, just to name a couple. You had a lot of others. Just talk about Columbia, South Carolina, the great fans, Williams-Brice Stadium on the fairgrounds there, and why it's one of the best and most underrated atmospheres in the country.
Yeah, like you said, it's definitely one of the most underrated atmospheres in the country. But, just being under T-Rob and Muschamp, when they was recruiting me, they just told me I had the opportunity to come in and play early. And that's what really led to my decision. I was originally committed to Florida State, but Jimbo left, so I didn't want to go play for a coach that I didn't know, and I was most comfortable with playing under Muschamp and T-Rob. So decided to come here, and like you said, it's underrated. I mean, we got nice facilities, a great student section, great fan base, and it's just a fun place to play.
Yeah, talk about how difficult the 2020 season was for you. I know you battled injury a lot through the year, having to deal with COVID, 3 COVID tests a week. The team doesn't, the season doesn't end the way you wanted it to, record wise, and Coach Muschamp winds up, parting ways. Just kind of talk about how difficult it was for you this year, and then how you're kind of going to want to use that going into the NFL now.
It was 2020 was a crazy year just because, COVID hit all through the summer, all through spring. We just didn't know if we was going to play, but training hard. Fall camp was later, like everything was just crazy. So ended up going into the season. Like you said, I strained my groin in the first game of the season, and I was just nursing that injury the whole year. And it was kind of, I would say it was difficult because I couldn't get my feet wet. I couldn't seem to like play. Even now, I still feel like I didn't play in 2020 just because, I played the first game, got injured. The second game I came back, I wasn't feeling too good. Still got to play the third game. I re-injured my groin again. So I played like 2 possessions, sat out the rest of the game. The fourth game, Auburn game, I didn't play at all. Came back, played LSU a little bit, played Texas A&M, then got re-injured Ole Miss. So it was definitely a crazy season with everything going on, COVID, and then Coach Muschamp getting fired. So it was crazy.
Yeah. Well, Israel, talk a little bit about your running mate there, J.C. Horn. The experts have him as the second rated corner behind Patrick Surtain going into the draft. Just how kind of close you guys are and how close you've been through this process, talking about kind of what you guys are hearing on where you're going to go. We've seen some things projecting you in the third. I mean, you're like we said in the tweet to you, you're our favorite prospect at corner in the draft. So talk a little bit about what you've heard and a little bit about your running mate, J.C. Horn.
Like you said, I feel like he's the best corner in this league coming out. But just being able to be his teammate and coming in together has really been a blessing because we feed off of each other. So his energy feeding off mine, like it's been a blessing because a lot of people get lost in college, but when you have somebody that's just as dedicated as you, want to be just as good as you, want to be the best, I mean, it's a blessing because our relationship is very tight. We want to be the best, so we motivate each other. So it's just been a blessing to be his teammate. And then just from day one, just all the things that we talked about, we seeing it today happening, and it's so crazy, and it's a blessing. So I think I'll be more excited to hear his name called, and then him hearing my name called. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a great day.
That's awesome. You guys, your careers have kind of mirrored each other. I think you guys are even born like 2 days apart. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the crazy part. We found out our freshman year, which is crazy. And RJ, our other teammate, he went back this year. DB, his the 25th. So we all tight. So it's just crazy how we all almost born like a couple days apart.
Yeah, that is awesome. I want to talk about your measurables a little bit because, I mean, you're a rangy 6'4" athletic cover corner. Do you think that? I mean, it seems to me like that the new wave of defensive backs in the National Football League is going to taller corners, 6'4". I mean, that's really tall for a corner, but it seems like that's kind of where it's going. You see a lot of recruits out of high school going to major colleges that are 6'2", 6'3". You're 6'4", man. Do you think that's kind of the next wave? And when you talk to NFL teams, are they really excited about that height?
That's the crazy thing. A lot of people think 6'4", and some teams get excited, and then some teams, they get kind of scary because they never seen, when you hear 6'4" DB, it's kind of like, well, can he move? Because usually the bigger athletes, they like it's just something that everybody thinks that they can't move. That's the myth that goes around. So some teams scared of it, but I just can't wait to get to the next level and show teams what I'm capable of doing, because a lot of people, they don't they don't really believe that I'm 6'4" and I can move how well that I can move. So it's crazy, but can't wait to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. We're going to be pulling for you for sure. Maybe we can get you here in Kansas City. That'd be great to have you along this defense with Tyrann Mathieu, Frank Clark, Chris Jones. So we're looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But going back to the SEC, just whether it was the sight, sounds, total atmosphere, what were some of your favorite road environments you experienced?
Road environments, I would say Florida is pretty crazy. They get real loud over there, and it's because like the stadium is kind of small, so the fans is like right behind you, so they getting crazy. One school that a lot of people don't talk about that was pretty loud to me was Kentucky. My freshman year, they got pretty loud, and that was pretty fun. Tennessee gets pretty loud. Who else did we go to? Texas A&M, they get loud up there. So 100,000 fans, that's crazy. Stadium big. So I would say those probably the four that I can remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's crazy because we've been to every stadium in the SEC and covered games in all of them. And the one that stands out to me that it was the most shocking was South Carolina. It was 2018 against Tennessee, and it was the loudest, most and consistently loud. Like the fans are just always on their feet. They're always, they're always bouncing. It absolutely blew me away. That atmosphere at Williams-Brice, like we talked about earlier, it is absolutely unbelievable. And there's nothing quite like it, man. And that's, a huge testament to those fans because the team isn't always competing for SEC titles, but that fan base always shows up.
And that's like you said, that I remember that game, a night game in Willie B. Yeah, it gets crazy. When we wear all black, it gets crazy.
Well, Will Muschamp was released this season. Like, where do you see the program moving forward? Are you excited about the direction they're going in?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. They got Coach Beamer. He's been around a couple winning programs, so I feel like he's going to put the best foot forward for the program. And it's still a lot of good players coming out of South Carolina, still good players there. So I feel like they'll be in good hands.
When you talk to NFL teams and you talk about what you do well and what you don't do well, what are you hearing as far as like, hey, maybe this team sees me in as like a slot press in a slot corner playing a lot of press coverage. This team maybe sees you more, playing back, playing, in a zone more. What when you talk about what you do well and teams really like about you, what are they saying, and where do you think that they, the vast majority of teams are going to want you to play?
I think majority of teams want me at corner, but when talking to these teams, they don't really get into the details of that. Mm-hmm. But when I do talk to teams and they give me a little feedback, I think they like me at corner just because my length, got the ability to get my hands on guys at the line of scrimmage. But I feel like I'm a puzzle piece. So once I get on the team's roster and I'm able to practice and move around in front of the coaches, I'm gonna be able to do a lot of different things in the defense. So I think that's one of the most exciting things about me, just because I can play outside, I can play inside, and I can play back there at safety. So I think that's what's best for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of comparisons that we're hearing out there is, of course, that everyone just goes to the quick and the most recent tall corner that they've seen. So we're hearing a lot of Brandon Browner. Do you feel like that's a fair comparison, or who have you modeled your game after or taken things from?
I think that is a fair comparison just because we the same size, but I think I got real good hips and real good feet. Just because I can move back there at safety as well. But I just watched a lot of different DBs like Stephon Gilmore, Jalen Ramsey, and Richard Sherman.
Well, you're signed with our good friends there at Steinberg Sports. We're great friends with Lee and Chris Cabot and those guys. Of course, Patrick Mahomes is here in Kansas City. What was the factor in going with Steinberg, man? You talk about a guy that's done it all and represented all of them. We love Lee, and we're so glad that you're a part of the family. What made you pull the trigger on that? Did Patrick Mahomes give you a call there, or what happened?
Yeah, but I'm waiting on meeting him soon. But just the people there. Selwyn Roberts is actually my agent, but as well as Chris. But I mean, just the relationship that we built with them. I mean, they're just genuine people, people that I like to surround myself with, and they just, they just cared about me as a person, not only as an athlete. So it was no hard decision going with them.
Well, Israel, you said that you almost committed to Florida State. Jimbo Fisher left. You decided to go to South Carolina, the coach that you met and knew. The SEC slogan is "It just means more." Why do you think football means more in the South, and what separates the SEC from some of the other conferences?
I mean, just the athletes that we got in the South, it's a lot of different athletes that come out the South, and then just the competitiveness. I mean, in the SEC, I always tell people it's just different because, for example, in the SEC, you got to come to play every weekend. Like, there's no weekend that you can come out slacking. Just like, for example, Georgia, they came out one weekend slacking and they got beat. So that's what happens in the SEC. But like, even in the ACC, sometimes you see Clemson, they come out and they have them hiccup games, but they're still able to pull it out. But in the SEC, that's not happening. Or even with Ohio State, sometimes they got those slip up games, but they still pull it out. But in the SEC, if you have a slip up game, you lose in that week. So just the competitiveness, and then it's a guy in front of you every week, even if he doesn't have a name. It's a guy in front of you every week that's like that, that's ready to compete and battle. So it's just a different caliber of athletes, I feel like.
Well, Israel, I know you've talked to a lot of people, a lot of NFL people, and we're a podcast here in Kansas City, so it's not a business interview at all. But man, I like to know, when we talk to prospects that are coming up, just how much the game of football means to you. How much do you love it, and what are your favorite parts? Is it the film? Is it the guys in the locker rooms? Is it the competitiveness on the field against the guys lining up on the other side of you? Just what is it? What does this game mean to you?
I mean, this game means a lot to me. I've been playing since I was 7 years old. So since I was 7, I started out playing running back actually, but just as a little kid, just scoring touchdowns and making plays is fun to me. So just being able to make a big play for my team and my team hyping me up and me just getting excited about the game is what I love the most. And then going out there and just competing. I got 4 brothers and we all compete in video games, cars games. I mean, we just all compete. So I think that's why I love football so much, just because it's, number one, the ultimate team sport. You learn how to work with different people from different backgrounds, learning how to talk to people, learning different teammates and their circumstances and stuff. So I just love every part of the game.
Well, Israel, we can't thank you enough for coming on with this. We can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I know it's only bright things, and we're going to be watching. It's coming up April 29th. The draft begins, and we'll see where you go, my friend. Thank you so much for the time. Best of luck, man. We will be watching. We can't wait to see, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all.
You bet. Thank you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
It was an honor. Take care.
You too.